I am Jim Collison, and this is the CliftonStrengths Podcast, Season 3, recorded on January 12th, 2024. In this CliftonStrengths podcast series, we'll look at how to develop, how to feel more energized and motivated at work, one theme at a time. And today's theme is developer. If you're listening live, we'd love to have you join us in chat, or you can email us your questions, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jaclynn Robinson is our host today. She works as a senior learning and development consultant. Join me for season 1 and 2 of the CliftonStrengths podcast, where we looked at well-being at work and our CliftonStrengths role-based reports, one theme at a time. And Jaclynn, always great to be with you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're going to dive in this season. We're talking about bringing energy to work with your themes. Today, we're talking about developer. Let's talk about the individual first. In what ways can an individual with high developer feel more energized by focusing on their basic needs?
Connecting with their manager to ensure they've got access to materials and resources. So, do you have access to training programs or maybe workshops or resources, whether it's human, an actual person, so to speak, or physical, that align with your role and your career goals and the needs that you have for particular responsibilities? So that's what I would say is scheduling those one-on-ones to think about, what do I need so I can continue to not only develop in my career development plan, but with the responsibilities I have, I can make sure that I'm thriving and set up for success here.
Developer is one of those themes where it has this natural. We've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years talking about the we versus me. In other words, this
Hmm.
theme, here's how it relates to me. And then when I often think in the maturity cycle, it's most mature when we're pointing that theme to someone else. Developer often is thought of first in how can it's a talent that I can use to develop you. But when
Hmm.
we think about it from an individual standpoint, how can we feel more energized by focusing on the individual strength and development? You kind of alluded to that here, but spend a little
Hmm.
more time talking about that in our own personal development for those that have high developer.
For personal development, what I've seen, and I love seeing it with developers, who could be that mentor for you, or
Mm.
who's a subject matter expert in a field that's of interest to you, or maybe they're already in a role that you seek to be in at some point in life. It's a part of your career development plan. So spend that time investing in your experienced colleagues within that particular, role or skill set who can provide more guidance and support for you.
So when you talk about a development plan for a developer, that sounds like it should just come. But in your experience working with folks, and as we think about what have you seen folks do, or what kind of recommendations might you have as we think about what could that look like for an individual taking that
Mhm.
theme back on themselves?
I see it as scheduling meet and greets. Sometimes, you might have developer high,
Mm,
but you might
mhm,
be unclear on where you want to develop or how you want to develop.
yeah.
And so just getting some feedback from others, I've noticed has been really fruitful. So setting up those, 10 to 30-minute meet and greets, so to speak, to learn more about somebody's role, to learn about the responsibilities. How much time are you spending in those responsibilities? What was the skill set or education required, or years in the in a previous role required to then get into the role you're in now? So I think being able to do homework by connecting with other people can help create clarity on their own developmental path. And then you can take those questions back to your manager, even going back to basic needs, to say, now I have some clarity on where I want to go. Um, can you suggest workshops or trainings or um, partnerships or mentorships more formally that I can be involved in? So I'm not just doing my key responsibilities now, but we're also putting me on the road to X role that I see myself in the future.
Mm. I have developer in my top 10, like I mentioned before. And for me, I've spent the last month, December, so depending on when you're listening to this, but a lot of feet up time. I was resting and recovering.
Hmm.
And YouTube is awesome and it's terrible and awesome all at the same time. but allowed me. There were some
Yeah.
moments where I would be getting maybe just a little bored. I'd be like, okay, I've watched the whole internet, and I think, you know what, I'm going to go deep on a subject, right?
Oh,
And I would,
yes.
you could, it's funny because I would go from feet up to sitting, paying attention, digging in, and then going down a rabbit hole, so to speak, of some personal development for me. And it was
Mhm.
funny how that brought me energy. Like, not funny, but
Mhm.
that's what it does, right? I'd get excited about things, and pretty soon 4 hours would be gone. I'm like, holy moly, I should go brush my teeth or something. I've been here a while.
You went down the
Um,
rabbit hole.
you definitely, definitely did. So that there for me, even there's a great example of how
I love that.
that exercise. And I think in some ways, yeah, that sounds a lot like learner. Yeah, maybe in a little bit, but it's for me, I've consciously had this thought of like, how can I continue to develop myself while I'm sitting
Mhm.
here recovering, so to speak. So thinking about
Yeah.
that. What are some ways an individual with a developer can feel more energized by building partnerships and finding purpose in their role?
Um, I think, and we're kind of flip it this time, but acting as a mentor.
Mm.
I think acting
Ooh,
as a
yeah,
mentor themselves for
yeah,
other people,
yeah.
is that feel good feeling of, "Ooh, I'm helping them," and maybe you're being the champion and you're nudging them into more challenging projects or tasks that have been offered up to them, and maybe they're just too fearful to jump. But those stretch assignments can accelerate the learning and development of that individual. So maybe you're the person that says, "Oh, I know you've got this. I know you can. Think about how this is going to support your learning and growth." So friend to friend, so to speak, colleague to colleague, you can be that wonderful mentor or champion for somebody.
Mm. When you said friend to friend, just then I thought you were gonna dump some, like, wisdom on me. Like, I thought you were, "Hey, Jim, just friend to friend." And everything you've said is not true. Let's spend some time
Uh,
talking about the manager, because I think high developer and in managerial roles, not
mhm.
required, but it's super powerful in that role, just like any of these things. How can a manager with developers support others with their basic needs?
Encouraging them to take ownership of their work and then make those decisions that align with meeting their expectations. So
Mhm.
essentially, providing them the autonomy while offering guidance as needed. It might be very easy, I would imagine, at times to want to overdevelop somebody, but that over involvement might, kind of reduce their ability to feel like they're empowered to try things out. Not always, I would say, but I think giving them that empowerment to say, "Hey, here's the freedom. Come to me. I'm here to be a guidance and support system for you," could build trust and establish deeper rapport and help them just try and fail until they get things right.
Yeah. And creating a safe space to do that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think the environment that a developer creates around the individual is just as important as the tasks or
Mhm.
whatever, the competencies or whatever that is. The
Mhm.
environment is just as important as those items that need to be done.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we think, "No, if I just say it, it'll get done." But I think sometimes we gotta set that up, right? We gotta set it up in a
Yeah.
way that works for them. How can a manager with high developer help others feel seen, heard, and valued as an individual?
Ooh, they could. So this well, I'll just say it. So they could celebrate learning moments or experiences where team members have gained new insights or skills. And then in that regard, they're highlighting the value of continuous learning and they're celebrating those moments that they've kind of learned together. The caveat I was going to say was I know that might sound like learner, but you had even mentioned it earlier. It can
Mm,
be very developmental to say, how have we learned and grown in an experience? And to use that as a way to celebrate.
mm,
Even if
yeah,
you failed for a moment, you got back up on your feet and you made it as a team. So let's celebrate that together. And that continues to create freedom for people to try things out and just see what works and what doesn't and make changes along the way.
mhm.
Yeah.
Q question 4 in our Q12 engagement survey. I have received praise or recognition in the last 7 days. And
Mhm.
then this phrase at the end, "for doing good work," like, and I think
Mhm.
this is at a for high developer of recognizing that good work, as we're developing, not all work is good, right?
Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
right,
You're
and
iterating sometimes and you
yeah,
just
Well, going back to
Gotta
that
get in there
safe
and try.
space, you have to have safe space to fail in, but
Mhm.
there are moments when it is great work, and it needs to be. There's nothing more. I've way in the past, I've gotten some awards for some things, and you're like, you just made this up. Like it, what?
Mhm.
Yeah, the award looks fancy, but it doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
And so it's important that I think that recognition is done for good work. How can a
Yes.
manager with? I'm sorry. Anything you want to add
No, just
to that?
yeah, icing on the cake. That was great.
Yeah, no, for sure. How can a manager with a high developer build trust, inspire, and deepen team collaboration and community then?
Initiating skill building initiatives with the team. That could be a knowledge sharing session. That could be skill development workshops. But encouraging the cross training among team members is a good way for them to inspire one another or deepen collaboration in a way that feels very communal. So, how
Mhm.
can we learn and grow together based on the mission or purpose that we have in mind?
Yeah.
Which could be just, "Hey, our mission is to learn something new," or it could be related to a specific team goal.
Yeah, that phrase "learn something new," I think sometimes we're always chasing the newness when it
Mhm.
could just be learn something old that we're not doing very well,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
There's some truths in things from time to time, like, and there may be some things that we can, "Hey, this works. It still works. We could just do more or better or continue," right?
Yeah.
Doesn't always have to be new. I think sometimes going back to the learner, not that we're trying to trash the learner on this one here, but that's might be consumption of new things, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
developer may look for what's working today or what could work in that situation, target it towards the team, and then deploy it in a way that helps build that collaboration. Everybody, like,
Yes.
success covers a multitude of sins, right? On a team,
Yeah.
and so a great opportunity for them to grow. I don't know, anything else you'd add to that?
I know, I'm glad that you brought that part in too, because to your point, sometimes you can study what's already working. What more can we learn about it? It's a
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
of newness for something that is tried and true.
yeah,
So I like that you were able to kind of piece that out so we could define new
yeah,
and what
yeah,
that
no,
can
right,
look like. Because new
yeah.
doesn't have to be something new and shiny. It could be, let's take what we've already done and
Well,
maximize on
look
it.
in the
How
in
can
the
we
self
continue to
yeah,
cultivate those skills?
look in the
Yeah.
self-help realm and all the books that come out and all the new thoughts that, and listen, I'm sure there's truth
Yeah.
in some of those, but sometimes that truth is something we just need to do again. Like,
Mhm.
"No,
Mhm.
I didn't get it right.
Yeah.
I still need to get it right and do it again." Last question for you, how can a manager with developers support the growth of each of the team members?
I did this more from a team perspective. So encouraging the team to engage in self-reflection and share their own perspectives about their team performance and growth aspirations. What skills or specialized knowledge can support them in their role as they consider the upcoming year, given we're in 2024,
Yeah.
and the goals that they have? And then as a team and as a manager, you can start to organize workshops or training sessions that focus on those specific skills or competencies that are really relevant to the team's objectives. So it's providing opportunities for hands on learning, it's hearing the voice of the team. And, I think that's a way that we can support their growth through the year is just creating some of those more interactive, I'll call it workshops or discussion sessions.
What really feeds my developer is when I get a note, either like a YouTube comment or I get an email, someone says,
Hmm.
"Hey, I listened to a podcast from 8 years ago. Thank you
Hmm.
for saying this." And Jaclyn, it's crazy for us to think. You just mentioned 2024.
Hmm.
In 2030, there will be people listening to this, and we'll be developing them. We're developing them in the future. Isn't that a
Yeah.
crazy? I think this is a development exercise that we do here. This is why I love
Mhm.
to do it. You're the expert, certainly. So we bring you on to get to get your thoughts on this, but it feeds my developer knowing that this is going to be valuable tomorrow, at the end
Mhm.
of the year, at the end of 2030, hopefully,
Mhm.
as we think about that. And so thank you for
Thank
engaging
you
in
for
that
asking.
developer exercise with me and doing this. Final thoughts as we wrap up this time together.
Um, Yeah, developer's just one of those themes that I really appreciate because there's a sense of calm, I think, oftentimes with this theme in giving people space to learn and discover, allow them to lead with curiosity, whether you're a team member or whether you're a manager. There's comfort that you provide for people to be able to just communicate, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, or this is where I think I might want to, the space I want to play in and discover something fresh or discover something tried and true again and just reignite it. I heard a colleague the other day just say, I've been doing X amount of courses, but I really want to go back and really go through notes, go through
Mm,
more of how to lead so I can just recall maybe some new pointers and tips or tricks that I can pull into my facilitation or classroom. That's what I think of with developer. They kind of encourage that. You hear it in them and you go, oh, no, that's neat.
yeah.
So you simply role model it just by being you. But I love that you also create space for people to communicate their own maybe wishes or curiosities or dreams. So keep it up because we certainly cherish it if this is a theme that you have.
I think as developer is looking forward to building in people with positive intent.
Hmm.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a
Hmm.
beautiful theme,
It is.
and on its own is inspiring. As I see great developers, I get jealous. We've got some managers at Gallup who do it better than anybody, and I'm like, "Oh, I could be more like them."
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good
They
when I
turn
see
every
it.
caterpillar into a butterfly
Yeah,
or
it's
try.
beautiful. It's beautiful. That he's been
It's
on the
great.
show, but that Mike McDonald, who's been on the program before, is
Yeah.
just one of the best at it. He is just
Hmm.
indeed one of the best. Well, with that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantages of all the resources we do have available in Gallup Access. Head out to my.gallup.com, sign in. Actually, there's probably some new resources in there for you now. As you're listening to this, this is the 12th of January, but next
Gosh.
Friday, we're releasing the brand new top 5 report that is out there. Chances are by the time you hear this, it's already out. So if you haven't seen it yet, head out to my.gallup.com, sign in, and the new top 5 report, 16
It's
pages of.
fancy.
If
It's
speaking of
fancy.
developer, like that's a whole
Yes.
new developer thing that's out there.
Feast your eyes and
It's
enjoy it.
pretty awesome. Get out there and get that done right now. For coaching, well, I mean, let me get through these things. For coaching, master coaching, or become a Gallup certified strengths coach, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Join us for the 2024 Gallup at Work Summit, or whatever year it is that you're listening to this in. I bet we're doing something. Head out to gallupatwork.com and join us live.
Mhm.
Actually, we got some events going on around the world too now. So not just in Omaha. Check it out today, gallupatwork.com. Stay up to date on all future webcasts by joining our Facebook and LinkedIn groups. Find us on any social platform by searching Clifton Strengths. If you've enjoyed it, hit those like or smash those like and subscribe. That's the kids say. Smash those like and
Smack.
subscribe buttons. And we almost have 50,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel on the Clifton
Wow.
Strengths on YouTube. So smash those buttons. Thanks for listening today. If you're listening live, stay around for a little bit of post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.